best thing about this week's episode was the preview. That's really the only positive I have to say about this week's episode. You want to know why the preview was awesome? Because it looks like it has better animation, more characters are going to show up, and even it looks like Kakuzu from the Akatsuki is going to crash the party, and it looks like him and Hidan might actually be the ones who are going to capture Fu. Either that or maybe Kakuzu will have a partner that we've never seen before, which I think would be a really nice twist because technically Hidan was like the newest member of the team. Can you see that I'm talking about the preview more than this week's episode? Do you see what I'm getting at? That's because nothing was good about this week's episode, okay? Barely anything happened. Fu and Gaara were captured. Neji saved them. End of the episode. That's it right there. There was a lot of padding in this week's episode, and some of the times it was just obvious. It was basically just looking at the cocoon, looking at the cocoon from another angle, looking at the cocoon from inside of the cocoon. They didn't do anything all that crazy with this week's episode. And you know, I guess the biggest thing here is that Neji decided he's going to help out the Sand Ninja, and they're basically just deciding to forget all about the Chunin exam, and because of their bravery and because of the fact that they ended up saving Gaara and Fu, probably that's why they're going to become Chunin. But what about the other characters? What about Sakura and Ino and Choji and the big freaking Pompadour Ninja that we saw episodes ago? We don't know anything about these guys, and I don't know how they're going to wrap up this entire arc because apparently the Canon Material is going to be returning at the very end of this month, and there's only one more filler, so they're just going to have to completely rush the final episode of this arc. And all I know is we've been walking around in the desert with sand in our ass cracks for months, and nothing has happened, and we have almost nothing to show for it. And frankly, I'm just glad that the fillers are done. I'm ready for the Canon Material to return. I'm ready to get back into the story. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? It sucked. What do you think? This was not a very good episode right here. And maybe I was building up a little bit too much, because in last week's episode, I was surprised. I thought it was actually kind of interesting, especially with this weird guy who had this loot, this Biwa weapon, which he could use to seal Jinchuriki. I mean, it was kind of bullcrap that he was able to seal them so quickly, and it ended up completely backfiring on him in this week's episode, because that technique ends up just attacking him when the chakra chains are removed because it's attracted to the nearest Jinchuriki chakra. He should have thought about this technique a little longer. He even had this one barrier technique. I don't know how the chakra chains were going through it. Just ninja chakra logic. That's the thing. I just didn't care for this episode right here. And, you know, on the technical side of things, it didn't help either. You know, animation, artwork, it just didn't look very good. There were a lot of scenes where they tried to include some action, but there was just no weight behind the attacks. There's this one scene where Rock Lee does this one spinning kick in the air, and it just looks depressing. It looks like watching an 8-year-old take their very first, like, karate lesson. Like, it just didn't work for me, and neither did this episode. So, I'm gonna give this one right here a 1 out of 5. If you're a hardcore Naruto fan, check it out. You might get something out of it. I just know that this week's episode completely disappointed me, and I'm ready for the Canon Material to return, and thank God we're not going to have to wait long for that. So check it out, Naruto fans. Everyone else, stay away. It's bad. So, I didn't like this episode. I didn't care for it, but what about you guys? Did you like this episode? Maybe you liked it a lot more than I did. Please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Do you have a favorite character from the Chunin exam arc? What do you think is going to happen in the final episode? Do you think Kakuzu and Hidan are going to crash the party and take away the Jinchuriki? What's going to happen? Just tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video and share it with all your friends. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure to also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching. And as always, stay dandy, baby.